Thank you for joining us. I'm Martha DeGrasse here for AGL, and I'm here today with Giuseppe Incitti. He is CEO of Sitetracker. Giuseppe, thanks a lot for making the time today.
Thanks, Martha.
Always good to see you. So you have had a pretty interesting perspective, I think, on 2020. You have seen your customers go through quite a lot, and your company has pivoted pretty quickly. Give us an update on that.
Sure. So just to kind of give folks a bit of background here, Sitetracker is a software provider, and we provide software to help the entire telecommunications industry manage deploying telecom infrastructure. We work with mobile network operators, tower companies, service providers, fiber companies. So we kind of have a pretty wide view of the entire industry, and we service customers in the U.S. and internationally. And this year has been pretty wild. From our seat, we've seen customers in all those categories react to a new way of working. What we've learned is, some were better positioned than others, right? So some folks have kind of modernized their technology backbone, over the last couple of years. And when something like this happens, all of their systems and, everything they need to work is already in the cloud. And some others, this was kind of a catalyst to essentially get off of those, in-office whiteboards and, work in a way where you can collaborate. I think the thing that's most amazing was how resilient this industry has been. We're, deploying software, which doesn't really, require any physical interaction, but watching folks understand, how to keep their team safe while they're, deploying physical infrastructure on telephone poles in San Francisco or in New York was just really outstanding. And listening to, how they had to kind of manage their organization in this time was just really something to watch. We think that some changes are here to stay, and I think that there's been a new appreciation for what work you can get done out of the office. So I think it's really going to impact the talent pool, and maybe some folks who are trying to build big companies with people, in the office or in seats will be more open-minded to finding talent in new geographies because now they know how to work, in a more remote way. So it's been pretty crazy, and we think it'll probably stay this way for the next 3 or 6 months.
At least. Now, what about Sitetracker? You are on both coasts. Everybody's remote. How's that been going?
Yeah, so it's we were a bit nervous in that in March because the beginning of the year it was our essentially our best quarter ever for onboarding new customers. And after we sign up a customer, we have to implement them, which means working with them to take their current business processes and put it in our software and help them kind of manage their business. And usually when we do that, there's a lot of in-person meetings kind of in a war room to overhaul everything about how they manage certain business processes. Well, then we had to shift all to 100% remote, right? And to help folks be more efficient without that in-person meeting was something that was pretty interesting. But I think we found a way, and we actually were amazed by how much more efficient you could be without having to jump on a plane or without having to schedule some of these things in person. So yeah, we're all remote today. I snuck into our New Jersey office here, so I'm in the office, but I'm the only one here. And I think we'll stay working this way for quite some time.
Well, I'm glad it's working out. So let's talk a little bit about some of the on-the-ground activities that you support. Just this morning, I heard Verizon speaking at an investor conference saying that they had pretty much stayed on track with small cell rollouts despite everything in 2020, and hope to see more of the same in the year ahead. Are you seeing ongoing deployments with the small cells despite the problems you've been talking about, both with the customers and also the municipalities?
Yes. So absolutely. And what we did, especially in the April timeframe, was we called around to essentially all our customers and we asked them, hey, how could we be helpful? What are you seeing out there? And the number one response was if we had some kind of magic wand to open municipalities back up in some cases. But what we saw were folks that through really modern systems were able to identify where they could do work and could continue to kind of make progress. and they prioritized those areas where they could, kind of keep things moving, right? So now I think most municipalities are back to business as usual or close to that. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me to see that folks have stayed on track, but I think it was because in the April-May timeframe, some people just were amazingly creative about how they could keep work going while keeping everyone safe. So it was really something amazing to watch. And it really came down to prioritizing, hey, where can we work and where can we not, and spending our time there.
Yeah. And I guess at least once you got to the site, or once workers did, there weren't a lot of people around. So
that's right. Yeah, I think that's my most fun story from a customer was the reduction in traffic actually in some ways made them way more efficient. So it's not something we thought of, but they were like, hey, I can only put one person in a truck these days, but the good news is they get to the site, in 30% of the time that it used to take them. So there were a couple of fun stories like that where folks receive some benefit, I guess, but probably more complexity than benefits, I would say.
Sure. Let's look ahead to 2021 a little bit. Are there certain parts of the industry that you see coming back quickly, or things that you think are going to be really taking off in the next few months here?
Yeah, I think across the board, we're seeing people prepare for an insane amount of activity, right? And I think it's this crazy time where there's a lot of work being awarded as we speak. So I think folks are trying to maintain staffing levels so that they're positioned to service this next kind of uptick in volume, even if it's maybe not here today. A lot of the stories I'm hearing is, we expect a very big orders from, these couple of mobile network operators or these tower companies, what have you, fiber providers. And it might not be happening today, but I think folks are really expecting orders to come in the next month or so. And I think that'll position us for a 2021 that was way busier than 2020. So I think we expect an uptick in activity across the board, and it's really across every category we work with. So that's mobile network operators, tower companies, fiber companies, and their service providers. So I think in every area we're seeing strength. Maybe fiber a little bit more than most at the moment, but across the board we're seeing a lot of activity.
Okay, good to know. And what about your utility business?
Yeah, so the utilities, it's interesting. So we do a lot of work in EV charging, and that just seems to be taking up the most amount of our time. So EV charging is a really big area of focus of ours, and it's fun. Some of our telecom customers are also very involved in that market. So we have some overlap where we get to work with people on both sides. But that's keeping us very busy. EVs are sales are increasing. The networks of EV chargers are increasing as well. So that's really great for us. And then, we spend more of our time in kind of the newer area of utilities. So whether it's kind of solar or wind turbine. And I think, the new administration has some really exciting plans for alternative energy going forward that folks are trying to decipher and position for. So, maybe not as busy as the telecommunication side today, but I think that folks are really preparing for an uptick there as well in those newer areas, right, in the alternative energy areas.
Okay, fantastic. And it sounds like your company has maintained headcount, if not grown, during the pandemic. Can you just finish by talking a little bit about the skill sets that you look for, or the types of jobs that you value right now?
Sure. So, the number one kind of trait we look for at Sitetracker is just being customer focused. So, our customers also have very demanding customers. So it's really important for everyone at Sitetracker to be really customer focused and be a member of the teams of the folks we support. So that's kind of first and foremost. Yeah, we've continued to hire, and we've also kind of evolved in how we think about where we're hiring from. So just as a fun story, we have 200 employees today, one in Alaska remotely. It's not something we essentially planned for, but it just shows that we're being a lot more open-minded of where great talent is. So we've definitely opened up our kind of lens to considering way more remote talent to join the team, looking for folks that are customer focused and that are really enjoy what our end customers do. So at the end of the day, we're a software company, so we need folks that could develop and implement and support, software, but it's a lot more interesting if they enjoy what our customers do, right? And I think that's kind of the sweet spot of what we're looking for. If you want to help our customers build the future faster, be a part of 5G and, this innovation that's happening in energy, and your customer focused, then we're definitely the place for you to come.
Fantastic. Giuseppe Incitti, thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Martha.